Thank you for being here. May these conversations remind you that your tenderness is your strength. Welcome to the Tender Heart Podcast. I'm here today with the amazing Charlie, and we're just speaking into how to introduce her. She's the founder of Women's Street Watch, and safety is at the core of what you offer to the world. Do you want to speak a little bit more into that? What does that mean for you?
So my real grown-up job is working as an officer of public health on cruise lines. But my passion very much is women's safety. So Women's Street Watch helps women and girls get home safe at night. And I suppose the sort of the Venn diagram of that is the thing that both share in common is this aspect of physical safety and well-being. So on the ship I'm responsible for auditing and training for food safety and water safety, and someone has to enjoy auditing. I really enjoy auditing. And then at home I'm responsible for helping women and girls get home safe by charging their phones and giving out flip-flops and tampons and being a bit of a shoulder to cry on the big market on weekends. So that's the sort of commonality that they both have, is this sense of safety. And
so the sounds as Women's Street Watch is more of that emotional safety as well. The emotional support.
Yeah, it definitely can be.
Yeah,
it definitely can be.
Yeah.
And our volunteers are sweet because we each have like a different speciality when it comes to that. So I'm very much like I probably have a bit of a softer point in being able to hold emotions as well as some of my other volunteers can. But I'm very good at doing like a safeguarding referral. That's like my that's my area. Sort of remains to be quite physical, even though my volunteers have this different things that they can lead with. So more emotional, or being able to listen to someone process some quite heavy things from their past, whereas I'm sort of better at putting up the marquee and providing a physical safe space, and hold myself with quite a bit of presence, I think, in terms of acting as a physical deterrent to someone that might want to cause them harm.
Yeah, and that's needed. The physical safety is really important. I mean, all these different aspects are so important, and it's great that you have different people with different specialities that can be there. So when did Women's Street Watch commence? How did that start?
So we're going to be 5 years old in November. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to be 6 years old in November. And so we started after the murder of Sarah Everard and Sabina Nessa. We felt that the response from the police had been lacking. There were some suggestions from police and other sort of nighttime economy stakeholders that suggested that women wave down a bus if they feel that they are physically in danger, but we all know a bus is not going to stop between two different bus stops. Someone suggested that like the good men wear like an armband to say that they won't attack you, which I thought was so completely sort of tone deaf. So we didn't really like another suggestion, I think it was the chief of police in London said you can ask a police officer for their badge. But the man who murdered Sarah Everard was a serving police officer. He did have a badge. It wasn't any level of naivety on Sarah's part. He should have been someone she could trust. And so me and some friends at the time thought, well, if they're not going to do it, we'll do it ourselves.
I love that.
So we took to the streets with like backpacks one Friday night, I think maybe March 2021. And we filled it with bottles of water and battery packs and flip-flops and a first aid kit, and we just walked up and down the streets of Newcastle patrolling, partly acting as a visual deterrent. We've sort of got two different teams. We've got an overt and a covert team. So the overt team is trying to deter crime by we are physically here, we're in pink high-vis jackets, we are watching you. It's why our logo is like an eye. It's we're watching you, you can't get away with it, we're here. And then we have this covert team who are undercover, and they go in and out of venues and walk around without a uniform and then pass intel across to the rest of our team. So we started doing it like that, just walking around. And then we expanded. We ended up buying a van. Her name is Wilma. She's this big
I've
pink.
seen her. She's
You've
gorgeous.
seen Wilma.
Gorgeous. She stands out.
She's lovely. Unfortunately, she costs me the ULEZ charge every time I go through town, which is a bit of a pain. But yeah, she's lovely. And so we park her, instead of doing this constant walking that we used to do, we now park in Big Market every Friday and Saturday night from 10 p.m. till 2 a.m. And provide this safe space for women and other vulnerable people to come to. Like, we're women run, but we help everyone. Yeah. Like Freshers Week, where we may as well be like boys street watch, because it's just loads of like students, fresher. It's 80% fresher boys who have taken more drugs than they can handle, and they turn up to us and ask for a blanket and would we phone their mum. So it's very, very sweet. So yeah, we help everyone.
So it's street watch, really.
It's street watch, really.
Yeah.
It's we say women street watch because we're women led. All of our volunteers are women, and because we are. One of the things that I've found in the years I've done, like women's lib activism, is that every woman who works in that field has been radicalised by something. Yeah. And by radicalised, I mean the old sense of the word, like rooted. It's rooted us in something. And so because we come from that lived experience and that shared lived experience, that's why we stay like an all-female team. Yeah. And it creates like it's like a really cool environment of like sisterhood and solidarity, like all together. Yeah. And because everything that we face on our shift, usually one of us has experienced it already, or someone we know has, because I make us sound really cutesy, like, oh, battery packs and flip-flops, but we are also, miscarriages in the back of the van, because most women to have a miscarriage do so outside of the home. They're usually out of the house, or women who've experienced sexual violence and we're right there, or when our team we've directly intervened with a male attacker, which has happened 7 times in the last 5 years, where we've pulled assailants off of women, or we've been first on scene for spikings, we've been first on scene for a cardiac arrest, we've been first on scene for a woman who'd stopped breathing. So I make us sound cutesy, but there's 5% of it that's like really like heavy work. And so for that heavy work to be done, for us, our strength is in our womanhood. And that keeps us connected with that, because it's never happened that we've faced something and someone hasn't gone, actually, I'll take the lead because this happened to my friend, or I'll take the lead because that happened to me. Oh, I feel quite emotional. Yeah, it's really cool. It's really beautiful, and it's really it's like the most in-depth sisterhood could possibly be. I really feel I need the tissues, Haywood. Yeah, that feels really profound, because as you say, you can speak into handing out flip-flops and charging people's phones, but the depth of work that you're doing, and also as you say that every woman has experienced that themselves. Yeah, that's amazing. That's none of us are surprised, and the women coming to us are never going to not be believed, because we know, and we've seen it and we've experienced it, and it creates. It's sort of this environment on Big Market where women on a night out know that we're there. And so that's its own solidarity. But then there's also the solidarity within my team, which is really cool. Yeah. Like we've got a really nice team, and we're growing. We now have 62 volunteers. Wow. So it's, we're doing something pretty cool.
And are they being paid for it, or are they totally volunteering their own time?
No, we have no formal funding at all. We've never received formal funding. We did have a meeting this week, so let's see what the council and the police are going to do to help. But
they should.
They should. Yeah. We can run on 2,500 a year. Our only overheads are the ULEZ charge, because they don't exempt us. ULEZ charge fuel and the insurance for the van and the garage. That's it.
Yeah.
We're such a small, like, you couldn't be more grassroots. So like tonight, I don't have any volunteers who've signed up for tonight. And I know that's because we've got this big heat wave bank holiday, and I want my volunteers to go and have fun, like enjoy it. And so I thought I might just rock up to Big Market for 2 hours on my own and just be there, you know? Like, that's what makes it so nice. It's like this, there doesn't get more grassroots than hearing a woman and providing what she needs. If she comes to us and she's hungry, we give her food. If she comes to us and she's thirsty, we give her water. If she comes to us and she needs money to get home, we give her the money to get home. Like, it's so, there's no like bureaucracy and paperwork and things that get in the way. If we're given £1, the pound goes on providing a very direct, you know, I know we've got some overheads with the van and the garage, but not much. Most large charities, when you donate £1, 80 pence of it could go on an office space and a salary and da. For us, it really is like, out of £1, 98 pence just goes on to directly helping a woman.
That's amazing. That's
it's
amazing.
super cool.
Yeah. So that's your heart's work.
And
really.
that's I think that's the bit. And I definitely use Streetwatch as a springboard for feminism in general. I think a lot of our volunteers and a lot of our followers, like, I'd like to think, I wanted to get little pink hats that say Women's Streetwatch makes feminism great again. But I thought it might be misread, so I didn't do it. But I'd like to think that we made like feminism cool, like we were able to bring feminism to the doorstep of like every lass, rather than it being something protected for academics or protected for, you know, social studies students or people who went to university. We bought Women's Lib just to a lass who's partying in Market Shaker at 2 a.m.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, it just feels like this sisterhood where we're just supporting each other in a way that we can.
Yeah, and that's it.
Yeah,
and that there's, you know, that it's more accessible. We hosted a march a few years back, and I did a survey on Instagram, and I think a couple of thousand women had turned up, and about half of them had responded to a survey on our Instagram. And I asked, "Is this your first action, like women's liberation action?" And I think 97% of the responders were like, yeah, this is my first march. I've never been on a march. And so I think that's a nice thing as well. Is like, over summer, we're going to start doing like little summer socials. So we've got like a screening of Thelma and Louise on the 7th. And it's just going to be free events once a month for all women just to turn up, because we're sort of creating this community in the more vulnerable parts of our city. So women who are unhoused, women who are in active addiction, the Roma community we're quite close with as well. So we're sort of creating that as a community, but we're also creating a community on the other side of that as well, so that between us, hopefully Streetwatch has like a place for every woman to just find some safety and solidarity, even if they're not like Big Market partiers, you know?
If what we've explored here today resonates with you, I'd love to invite you to go deeper. You can work with me one-to-one, or you can join one of my workshops. My desire is to create spaces where you can slow down, you can listen to your body, and you can reconnect with your truth. To really let your body soften, to let your truth unfold, and your pleasure return. Your pleasure is your birthright. You'll find all the details in the show notes. I know from myself that my desire to create change in the world comes from me being in a scenario where I didn't have choice. Is that the same for you? What fuels this amazing woman that you are to create all these amazing things in the world? Where does your fuel come from?
It's so funny because I was talking about that this week, because I have had similar experiences, but that like fire has been far before that.
Yeah.
It wasn't, I remember being like, you know, at school, I think my first ever activism was collecting clothes for refugees in Calais when I was about 11 or 12, and it really was my soapbox. I refused to stop talking about it. I was like, we can see the cliffs of Calais from our school, like from the end of the road, and we're all sitting here with a beer and a cigarette because we're 12-year-old kids who live in Margate, and we could just, like, all of us have got loads of extra clothes, why don't we just put them in a box and we can get someone to take them over? And I think I did, I can't remember if it was my dad or someone, I think we convinced someone to like take these clothes over to Calais. And so, yeah, I've been like it forever.
It's in your blood.
It's always, yeah, and it feels like, and is fueled by anger, I think.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel very soft. I've just got a new bumper sticker for Wilma that says, not fast, just furious. That's like that.
But that's a beautiful way to, transmute that anger into passion, because I feel like that in my own work. I've had boundaries overstepped that's then brought me to the consent work, and I can see that it is this anger that is fueling it, but it's in a positive way, and it's supporting me and people on that journey.
Yeah, and it feels like quite a focused anger. It doesn't actually feel like messy or unregulated. It feels like quite a, I don't know if you've seen this series that was on ITV or Channel 4 this week, called Believe Me.
No.
It was about women who were assaulted by a taxi driver in London in the early 2000s, and it was so many cases. It ended up being, I think, over 1,000 women had been drugged and assaulted by this man, and the police just didn't believe the women, even though they were cropping up all over the country. They weren't being believed, and I could feel it. I could actually feel it in real time. This building focused anger on okay, this is where that's going to go for my next project. So that's what feels like the fuel.
Yeah, but good fuel.
I think so.
Yeah, it's interesting, this sort of belief stuff, because I've noticed that I've had a tendency to believe the wrong person, so to speak. Yeah, it's fascinating. Were your parents activists?
Yeah.
Okay. so I can see it comes down.
That's a good point. I don't know if I'd ever put that. I said in the week that my mum raised me on Les Miserables and expected me not to be a revolutionary. I don't know how you don't expect me singing, Blood of Angry Men with a big flag in Leicester Square. It's surely the only trajectory that's got. My parents are animal liberation activists, especially my mum.
Okay.
My mum has the word vegan tattooed on the back of her neck, and she got it done a few years ago, firmly in her mid-60s. And yeah, my parents both feel pain for animals very strongly. They care about everything all the time. I just had a big debate with my mum about my new wool duvet, because I didn't want to buy plastic. So yeah, they are. My mum does something called witnessing at, when we used to live export from Dover. So she'd go to the lorries that have the crying cows and who don't have water and don't have food, and my mum would go and put water in their mouths and put her hand on their head just to witness and just to be there in their last.
Oh, that must be emotional. Oh my God.
I know. I couldn't do it. My mum's strength is so much more than mine. Is that she could look them in the eyes and do that, and I couldn't. I've never done. I've done a bit of hunt sabbing, which I probably shouldn't say so publicly, but
well, you have now.
I love a bit of hunt sabbing. So I don't know. Do you know?
No. What
The
is
hunt
that?
sabs literally go and saboteur the hunt. They go and give treats to the dogs, or anything you can to distract them.
Yeah.
Or try to alert the fox. I didn't know how fast I could run until the first time I did hunt sabbing. It really, that focused a lot of nice anger.
Yeah. How old were you then?
It was last year.
Oh, it was last year.
Unfortunately, it tends to clash a bit with street watch, because obviously the hunt sabs go out when the hunt is, which tends to be a Sunday or a Saturday.
Yeah.
And I'm usually really tired from street watch, so I can't do both.
Yeah.
But I turned up in Wilma, actually. They said turn up in a subtle vehicle. Okay. I was like, I don't mind. I don't have any shame. Tell my employer, tell my family, tell my friends. I don't have any shame. If there's something I can do to stop one fox getting hurt, then I'm going to do it. So I was raised by activists. That's probably
that's
part of it.
I do feel. I
was named after Charlotte's Web.
Oh, were you?
Yeah,
oh,
my government name is Charlotte. And they named me after the spider that saved the pig from getting eaten.
Oh, I love
yeah.
that. Yeah.
They're really cool. And my dad is an activist as well, but he's just very shy about it. Right. So my dad will sort of just politely tell people that maybe it's mean to kill an animal, whereas my mum's a bit more
she's out there. She's like you.
Yeah, she is. I probably get a lot of it from her. And we dress the same as well.
Really?
Doc Marten boots and a short, mod haircut. I get it from my mum.
Yeah. I do feel like we can inherit a lot, and then our experiences also sort of fuel it.
And then we annoy each other because of it.
Yeah.
I think it's like
so
you end up you end up sort of butting heads about things, or if one of you can see something that the other can't yet. Like, we had a big argument about sofas a few years ago because I said that's a leather sofa, but they were under the impression that it was a byproduct and the animal would have been killed anyway, and they weren't aware that leather is raised and killed for leather. So yeah, sometimes we get into like a moral debate, but as I've got older now, I just find it fun. When I was a kid, I felt it intolerable that they could hold an opinion that was different to mine. Whereas now I'm older and we can be like, oh no, maybe there isn't one that's best or worst out of plastic or wool. Your choices for shoes is either an animal's skin or it's plastic that will never leave the environment. Neither of those are great.
No, no. But it's good to be able to talk about it, isn't it? And just, see the other person's perspective and rather than I've got to be right.
And just and just to be aware of our own choices, I guess. That's kind of what we were saying a bit earlier. It's like being conscious of our choices. I think it's important to like live a well-examined life rather than completely unquestioning. If we can examine things for ourselves and for the world, like
that's and look at what's going on behind the scenes and what brought the animal to my table, for example.
And do you feel comfortable with that? It's not about anyone else, but for, when I'm at sea, I used to eat meat because my theory was, well, I can't vote with my money. The personal isn't political anymore because it is already dead and it will go in the bin. It's not like a supermarket. But then after a few months of it, I was like, no, it doesn't feel right for me to eat an animal's flesh in the same way it wouldn't feel right for me to eat a human. Like, it just doesn't fit with who I am. And I think that's, an important thing that we do is like, does it actually sit right in us, what we're doing? Does it match is our personal and political aligned? Or who we are politically separate to who we are personally? Or,
because sometimes we can avoid. I see sometimes that I don't want to know that.
I don't want to think about it
because then I've got a. Oh, the Danish word's coming through. Testilingte, which means I've got to decide. And actually, if I don't know that, it's easier for me not to. And I think just to admit that sometimes.
Yeah. And to allow ourselves to feel a bit of discomfort.
Yes.
Like, I do feel guilty about my wool duvet, but that'll pass. And I decided. For me, it was better to go for wool than it was to go for polyester that will just go and kill a turtle later down the line, But it's not a pleasant thing to put yourself in discomfort, but that's probably the only way you can then make the changes we want to make.
I know. I just bought a down duvet and I was the same. I was like,
I was looking at the down duvet at the time and I was like,
looking at the wool too.
Is that better than the wool? And then I was like, no, because I think the ducks die, so I'm going to go for the wool because I think the sheeps don't die. But then I didn't Google it because I knew. So exactly that. It's like I knew I don't want to find out more because at the moment that just looks like the best choice I can physically make. My vegan friends would be really upset though. I think the Hunt Sabs watching this would go, oh no.
that doesn't
Oh no.
But I suppose that's also the privilege that we have, that we do have choice. And we can choose.
Oh, I can't believe I've ever got to a position where I can agonise over £170 wool duvet. Like, and maybe that's partly why I feel like I need to now, is there was a time when the cheapest and whatever I could get out of a bin or second hand, that had to be the choice. Whereas now, maybe I feel like I can try to follow some of the things that I know about and talk about in terms of the environment, and I can sort of put it into practice.
And be honest around it as well. I think it's so important.
And to find a balance between just pick the duvet rather than like 6 hours of agonising about it and like 4 different phone calls and a lot of Googling. Is eventually you just have to pick the duvet.
You do. I went down the duvet literally a few weeks ago. Same thing.
Like,
oh babe, maybe bamboo. That was great. Did you say bamboo?
I thought bamboo, but so expensive. Like at some point I have to draw the line with like, and I looked after, I was like, I probably couldn't have afforded. Like, I probably shouldn't have prioritised that wool duvet. But I told myself it will last forever. So more than the cheap, thin polyester ones. So yeah, please, that's not just me that like agonises over.
No, I went down that, and I just come back from Ireland, where I was with my daughter, and one of her friends is on a farm, and they're obviously it's lambing season, and all these beautiful lambs, and I asked her, what age do they send them off, and she said
6 weeks.
No, a year.
A year.
So you could say they've had a short life, but they've had a good life because they've been out on the fields with the mums and the friends.
Yeah.
And it is short. It is short, but...
It is.
Yeah.
I don't know if we apply the same logic to humans.
No. Well, would we rather have a short, sweet life than a long... I don't know.
Depends if they're the only options.
Yeah.
Or maybe the option is a long life where we have a good one. I guess that's the optimum.
That is the optimum, isn't it? Yeah, you're right. I mean, yeah, we could talk about animals. Yeah.
But there's the background on why.
There is a background.
That's my activist family.
It makes a lot of sense.
Makes a lot of sense. I don't know why I never kind of put the two and two together, because they never used to take me to things. I know they never, everyone says, oh, your parents force their opinions on you. And it's like, yeah, well, everyone does, because you either feed your kids meat or you don't. Either way is forcing. Mm-hmm. It's removing this idea that there's one that's default and one that's not.
Yeah.
Obviously I was raised vegetarian and later vegan. But we force our kids to eat meat if you feed them meat.
Yeah.
All of it's a force until they can vocalise and
then they can choose.
Then they can choose. But until then, you force your kid to have a polyester duvet or a wool. There's no neutral. None of that's neutral. All of that is political and social, decision making.
Yeah. But it makes sense that you've got that drive.
Yes.
Yeah, and your life experiences have also brought you to do what you do.
Yeah, just maybe a bit angrier than my parents. A bit less polite than my dad.
Like that. I think maybe that could be a generational thing as well.
Yes.
Or conditioning and yeah, absolutely. So we talked a bit about your book. Choosing what was it called?
So it's an anthology by Angela Wilde, and it's called I Wish I Was a Lesbian, and it's got 39 chapters, I think, from different perspectives, with the theme of choosing lesbianism as a positive and happy choice, as a positive and happy life, rather than something we're forced to be and we can't choose and we have no choice, and it's some sort of genetic condition, but instead for it to be a very happy and conscious decision.
Yeah, I love that.
And the title comes from both me and Angela's an old friend from a very long... Angela's the reason I'm a lesbian, which is quite cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was... So I identified as bisexual for years and years and years and years, and I was sat on sat on a bench in Wales with Angela. And I was talking about, she said, why do you identify as bisexual? She said, you're clearly unhappy with men. And I said, yeah, I just haven't met the right man yet. And she was like, right, but she was like, do you have emotional fulfillment with men? I was like, no. She was like, do you have sexual fulfillment with men? I was like, no. She was like, have you ever enjoyed those things with men? No. And she was like, so what's wrong? And she was like, I said, either me or it's just not the right man. Or she looked me square in the eyes and went, because you can just be a lesbian. And I sort of argued with her, and I was like, no, I don't have a choice because I've already been with men, so I have to, I can't be like, that can't be me because you were born that way and I am not, and I can never be that. It doesn't matter how unhappy I am with men. I can never be what you are. And she was just like, you can. She's French. I can't mimic her accent, but this conversation is even better with a beautiful French accent. Yeah. And she just looked at me and was like, you can. And I walked away at the end of that day and was kind of thinking about it and was partially offended by it. And then after 6 months, I was like, yeah, what am I doing? I'm holding on to an idea of who I should be. When women make me so happy and so sexually fulfilled and so emotionally fulfilled, what am I doing? Putting myself through this unhappiness and discomfort that never felt aligned, that never felt, and never felt like attraction. Why can't I just choose a happier way? Why can't I can just leave? Yeah. So I did, and that was it for men.
That was it. You were full on lesbian.
Gone full on lesbian. Yes! Never looked back, not for half a second. Thank you, Angela.
Because there's a lot of conditioning around that, so much conditioning. I watched Virgin Island recently on Channel 4, where they bring these young people onto an island, and who's still virgins, and there was a few women that I actually identify as bisexual, but actually when it came, a bit like when it came to, actually they're lesbians.
Yeah.
But and I love what you're saying about this is a choice that I'm making. I'm an adult. It's a conscious choice. It's not because there's something wrong with me.
It's not because I can't help it.
It's
not because I have a, like, for so long we were looking for like a genetic reason, and I've heard I'm a biologist, my background is biology, and I've heard everything you could possibly hear. It's because our finger length on the index and the ring finger is different. That predicts if you're a lesbian or not. Or it's the birth order. If you're the second one, then you're more likely to be a lesbian. It's a testosterone difference. It's something that happened in the womb. It's the rejection of the same-sex parent. It's all of these pathological explanations and medicalized reasons for being a lesbian, because it's like society cannot accept that the only way a woman could love another woman is if she has a genetic condition and she can't help it. Like how indoctrinated we have to be to think that is like a progressive way of viewing sexuality.
It's mad.
It's mad.
It is mad.
It's entirely mad. And I think it raises like a lot of questions about choice in general, because I want to clarify specifically that I mean the choice to be a lesbian as a one-way street. And I say that because so underpinning my theory is sort of radical feminism. And a radical meaning root, as I mentioned earlier, is and radical feminism, sort of summed up in a sentence, is the belief that sex-based oppression exists. So that female-bodied people are oppressed because of their sex, and we have lesser education opportunities. We are more likely to die in car accidents, and that sort of underpins radfem theory. And so when it comes to a choice about choosing to be a lesbian, I'm not saying that lesbians can choose to be heterosexual, because to choose to be heterosexual is to choose the chains of patriarchy. So it's not a liberating choice to put yourself. It's a bit. I'd compare it with shaving legs or wearing high-heeled shoes. You can choose to liberate yourself from high-heeled shoes.
Yeah.
But a radical feminist would argue you can't choose the tools of oppression. That those tools only exist because they're within patriarchy.
And which is where, that's the conditioning.
Yes, and that's the conditioning.
Yeah.
So to choose to be a lesbian, what I mean by it is you can choose to decondition from that.
Yeah.
Not that necessarily you can choose to recondition yourself to be heterosexual, because that's not... I'm not advocating for lesbians that we can choose then to be heterosexual, because we can't. Once you've deconstructed those things that are forced on you, you can't put the attraction there. You can't make yourself go back. Once the veil drops, it's dropped and it's gone. Yeah. There's nothing that could now make me go back to heterosexuality. You can only liberate yourself from the chains.
Yeah, but what I'm also hearing when you were explaining it before, it's actually really acknowledging what makes you happy, what makes you fulfilled, what you are a full yes to, which is actually your truth that's revealing itself.
Yes, exactly. So it really, saying choose to be a lesbian is very similar to just the sort of standard model of seeing things as born this way. What's changing is that level of that empowerment of being like, but this is me and this is who I am, and I'm not making excuses or apologies or shrinking myself in any way. Is I choose to liberate myself from something that is making me unhappy. Yeah. And I think for me the reason it's important to talk about is because I don't necessarily believe every woman in the world would be a lesbian, but there certainly would be more if we felt like we could just say, actually, I'm really unhappy, and maybe I don't have to have been born that way to just let myself love my best friend because I already love her a lot and I already want to spend my life with her. And I maybe this way of framing and speaking about sexuality frees more women, because I'm so sure there must be so many lesbians who lived and died as heterosexual women who never felt like they could leave.
I think my granny might have been a lesbian.
Do you think?
She might have.
Do you think?
I never thought about it until my kids actually said to me. She was living with a friend, this female.
A friend.
For years.
Yeah.
And years and years.
Yeah.
And we would, I'm older than you, and I was like, oh, she just lives with a friend.
Just
That's what
lives
she
with-
does.
yeah.
And then my kids were like, Mum, she would have been a lesbian. I'm like,
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And I spoke to my brother about it. He said, yeah, they
Yeah,
would
that would make
probably have maybe had sex but not spoken about
Never,
it.
never. It would never have
It
even.
would never have
Yeah.
been mentioned.
Yeah.
It would, yeah.
It's why in so many sort of religions and cultures that like gay men are penalised for being gay men, but they never even thought to include women because it was so untalked about.
Yeah.
That women would ever have sex. So it's like, if you look in most holy books, they specifically prohibit gay men. Like,
it's true, isn't it?
not lesbian women.
No.
And I think for so much of our history, it's probably, I think loving each other and having sex with each other is probably like the most natural women can be.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It fully makes sense to me to see our sexuality as sort of similar to lions. I don't know how much you know about the mating habits of lions. But a lion will, and this is oversimplified for the sake of a conversation, but like it's probably a bit more deep in ways that I don't understand fully, but is that a lioness will mostly raise her cubs and socialise and interact and hunt with her female like pack. And she'll only go to the male for the sake of procreation and that sort of it. I can see that being like a really genuinely natural model to humans, because also men gravitate towards each other as well. If you go to a pub, or even when you're younger, you go to a school disco.
Yeah.
Boys, girls,
Yeah.
you know? And I think a lot of how patriarchy and capitalism has worked has been, there must be a male to earn money and there must be a female to raise the children. But if you speak to most women, who was your first love as a girl? Who was your first love? 9 times out of 10, she tells me another girl.
Really?
So
I
she
feel
was
like,
like,
I've got FOMO. I feel I should
Have
be
you-
more. I want to be more of a lesbian. Can you teach me how to be a lesbian?
I can. I'm going to write a book on
Oh,
that.
excellent.
How to be a lesbian 101. But like for most of us, the person who was sleeping over with us, who we wanted to see all the way through the summer holidays, who, if we got like a little trinket from school to give some, it was a girl. Mine was. It was Megan Barnacle. I can remember her name. And her mum follows me on Instagram still. But it wasn't like a romantic, it wasn't a crush or anything. You know, I was 6. But she was my first, like, really who knew me, who taught me how to count in the toilets of AMF bowling. Like, you know, who was there for everything, first day of school. Like, when you're that young, you're learning how to, like, put makeup on, or you're, like, learning who you are. And, like, role-play games where she was always the queen and I was always, like, a pauper. But that was, like, my first love. And for most girls, they look back and they're like, yeah, that first real bond was another girl.
Yeah.
And I really think society beats that love out of us, metaphorically and physically, to produce this nuclear, male works to keep the cogs of the machine going, female raises babies. And I think that system has been so effective that so many women don't realise that they would be happier co-raising their children with their best friend.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And which brings it all back to choice as well.
Which brings, exactly.
all back to choice and what's right. Because I remember my first crush, it was a boy, he was called Richard.
Richard
was at school. I was shit at art and I made this fish and it was I was looking at my fish, it was so ugly, and Richard said to me it was a nice,
nice
fish.
fish.
I fell in love with him.
Did you date Richard?
I didn't date Richard. I was
Richard.
very young. I'd probably been about 7 or something like that. But I do remember a female friend kissing me when we were about 12, and I didn't like it.
But I wonder where she is now.
I wonder where she is. She used
I wonder
to
if she has.
steal
I
all the
wonder if
time.
she has a wife.
Maybe,
I wonder if she has a wife.
Maybe. I do
'Cause I-
sometimes feel I've got a bit of FOMO. I want to be more lesbian.
More gay. More gay.
More gay, yeah. But yeah, again, it's back to choice, and as you say, probably because it has been so repressed.
So, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like what makes me feel alive, what's good for me, what gives me joy, what feels right for me, and having that choice.
Exactly. And I think that's so. Like when I, so after Angela said that, I also had my friend Julie shake me at a conference. Literally, sort of shook me. And I decided to spend 1 year rejecting everything that the world told me I should do. So I stopped shaving my armpits, I stopped shaving my legs, I stopped speaking to men, including my dad. Sorry, Dad. I stopped eating, completely cut, like went back to being vegan, and I turned off the TV, didn't watch TV. I didn't even use deodorant for like a year. And I was like, right, after a year, I'll reintroduce anything that like doesn't feel right. And this included, all contact with men.
Yeah.
At the first few weeks, I really missed shaving my armpits. And I was like, that confirms it. It was a choice. I always wanted to shave my armpits. That was a choice. After a year, I was like, okay, now I'm ready to reintroduce things. I've never shaved my armpits since. That was 8 years ago. I've never, 7 or 8 years ago, never shaved my armpits since. Because I think the power of how we oppress is so strong that it can even make us feel like it's a choice.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Of, I shave my armpits because otherwise it would be unhygienic. It's not unhygienic, otherwise men would shave. It's not unhygienic.
No.
It's not dirty. We feel like it is, strongly.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that is a social pressure.
Yeah.
Otherwise men would also shave. Like it's not, men also wash their hair, women wash their hair. That is a hygiene thing. Shaving, women feel dirty, but that is taught behaviour. That's not innate. So I cut everything out for like this full year, and then I reintroduced things. Turns out my favourite colour is baby pink. Hadn't predicted that. Like I really thought like, oh, I'm just like not a pink girl. Like I've always been a bit of, tomboy, masculine leaning. I don't love the colour pink. So that came back. Shaving legs never came back. Shaving arms never came back. Deodorant did come back. And I feel like it was really powerful to be like, I'm going to remove everything you tell me. Oh yeah, I never wore a dress again, never wore a skirt again, never wore high heels again. Is that for us to understand what is true choice, we need to remove ourselves from that. The strength of, I think we underestimate how strong those societal messages are.
Yeah.
So it was shaving went, men went. That was it. And I never came back. That was it, gone.
I love that.
So how to be a lesbian in 365 days, Lisa.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Like a fast. Like people who do like a water fast.
Yeah.
It's like that. But you removed myself from everything and then allowed myself to bring back things that would, genuinely I really like having like a nice perfume. And I would do that regardless. I love having tattoos. Like, I don't feel like that. Because I've analysed the choices, I don't feel like they're sort of societally put on me, but there were so many that did surprise me.
Yeah, and I think that's such a personal journey, isn't it, feeling into what's true, because I love wearing dresses, but I went on this journey of stop wearing makeup, stop dyeing my hair, have breast implants removed, and that was a big part of my journey from being this perfect woman to allowing myself to be natural and age in that sort of way. So just what's true for me, and I just love men. And that's cool, and I love women. And what I also really love, I feel like there's, I love spaces where women can just be together and cuddle each other and touch each other. And I'm actually working with a pelvic floor practitioner at the moment, and she's able to meet me in my, internally and hold me in a way that no one else could. A man couldn't do that in the same way.
Sounds a bit gay.
It sounds a bit gay. It
sounds a bit gay.
Yes. But it's beautiful. And also I experience that if I'm sitting with a woman, maybe sort of holding her and, even being internally inside of her, it feels more like a midwife. It feels more like this holding space for someone.
And I think that's maybe what I mean by like how natural it is for us.
It's natural.
Like so completely natural.
Yeah.
That but to a lot of people that would sound totally bonkers. Like to a lot of people that would be like, that's completely like so far away from who we are now as a society, but it shouldn't be.
No.
Because if everyone was like that, if that all circles of women were always like that, how many more of us would be lesbians? Because it wouldn't be like this big taboo. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it sounds a lot like you have deconstructed it.
Yeah.
And just been like, no, this is, my natural preference
My natural
is
state,
But it doesn't come from a place. I hear so often, like this really internalized misogynistic of, I could never be a lesbian because of vaginas. And I just think, how sad that must be your internal voice about your own vulva.
Yeah.
Like how
so
much it's
fucking powerful.
They're really cool. I'm really into them.
They're really cool.
I
I love vaginas.
Yeah, I think I'm really into them. But it's amazing to see, you know, some women, I think, like, oh, I wonder if maybe you would have been happier as a lesbian if you didn't have that internalized hatred, because you can see by someone's body language when they go, oh, yeah, like, I could never have sex with a woman, and then that's when it makes me think, like, oh, there's no reason to naturally feel that disgust. You feel that because society has told you vaginas are gross.
And so, is that the disgust towards yourself as well?
And it must be. It must be one and the same.
Rather than, wow,
they're really cool.
Yeah.
And if more women thought, oh, wow, they're really cool, how many of us, like, would be happier with another lass? Like,
yeah, and want to, just...
And to just explore and love, and it to be okay and not be seen as, like, a genetic condition you have no choice in. I think there's something
around the whole sexualisation that's a bit messed up as well, isn't it? Because it's like, it's either sex or no sex, you know, we can't, there's nothing in between, and that's where I feel this, like, this almost like midwife holding, honouring, you know, looking at each other's vaginas, celebrating them, you
which
know.
Honestly does sound a lot like lesbian sex.
I think I'm a lesbian.
See, that only took 23 minutes. But it does, but we have such a patriarchal idea of what lesbian sex looks like, you know, because most people can only conceptualise lesbian sex in the way they see in porn films. Yeah. Like, do you know I've never scissored in my whole life? this was in my entire life. Okay. This was a conversation on my last ship with my friends because they were like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Because I don't know any lesbian who has." Like, to me, that's not something that exists, and I'm sure lesbians do. But we have such an idea of what lesbian sex looks like, but it comes from the lens of male pleasure. Yeah. Very rarely do people actually know what it looks like, which is a lot of holding, a lot of crying, a lot of time travel. It's always like 7 hours long, and you stop to pet the cats and make coffee. Like, it's not. I
love that. That sounds like tantric sex.
It's really right. It really is, and it's like really like natural. It's like it's like reading a script that you already know the words to. Yeah. Like it's so incredibly natural. Whereas a lot of when we talk about what lesbian sex is we're still conceptualizing it through a framework that's been provided by patriarchy, which is why so many women say with a confused tone, but how do you have sex without a penis? And I think your partner's really uncreative.
Yeah.
You know? It's not, you know, there's so much more.
So there's a beginning, a middle and an end and a goal rather than a journey that we...
There's an entire story, you know. It's about connection, not the goal of finishing. It's about connection, and sometimes it will stop halfway through and then that will be it, or sometimes it'll be a cuddle. I often fall asleep because as soon as my nervous system is relaxed, I fall asleep. And that feels so nice and loving. And when we deconstruct these ideas of what is sex, what is the point of sex, then maybe that also makes, like, I feel like the bar to be a lesbian is really high. So women will sort of mess around with each other and someone will say, that doesn't make you a lesbian. So it's like we constantly try to like go, nope. We set the bar for heterosexuality really low, is so that if I talk about that I have a heterosexual past, people are like, well, you can't be a lesbian now because you slept with men.
So we're still actually working out what a lesbian it really means.
Yeah.
Right? Because the bar is heterosexual, that is the norm.
That's where we put the
Yeah, so I'm just going, maybe I am a bit, I mean, I have had an orgasm with a woman.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that was a heterosexual behaviour, particularly. But maybe you're setting the bar as, lesbians are so different to me, and lesbians are other. Not in a bad way, but just like lesbians are other. And this sex does not look like the sex that, of like, penis goes in vagina several times, finish, which is my best understanding of what straight sex looks like, is that, maybe that's... Yeah.
Well, I think we should finish here today because I've discovered that I'm a lesbian.
And that was my entire intention. And it took me a lot less long than lesbian sex with us. So.
Awesome. Oh, that's been amazing.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Tender Heart podcast. This touches my heart deeply. I would really love to stay in touch with you. So if you're feeling a yes, go to my website and join my mailing list.